welcome back to Scotty's Backyard Barbecue. Where barbecuing is a way of life, folks. If I sound a little funny, I'm just getting over a head cold. It's not fun. Excuse me. Alright, today I am doing a step-by-step, very beginner brisket video. I tried to find a brisket flat in my town. I drove all over the place. And all I could find is this very small, very expensive beef brisket. That's mostly flat. It's got just a little bit of the point on the top of it right here. So we're gonna call this a flat for today. I picked out the one that had the best marbling I could find. Got a little bit of hard fat right here we'll cut off. This is going to be a step-by-step for the very beginner. If you never smoked a brisket in your life, this will be the video for you. Now, if you guys already had a few briskets cooked in your belt, you might not want to watch this video, but this is for, or maybe you might want to watch, you might learn something. For the very beginner. Alright, this thing weighs in at just under 9 pounds. This weighs in at. That's expensive. Almost $58 for this thing. So if you could, watch this video, let it run, watch the ad, and that'll help me pay for this video. Okay? Hey, I thought I'd open it with a joke. Okay. Let's get this bad boy out of the package. We're going to trim this up. Now, if you never trimmed a brisket before, don't get intimidated. Don't try to do the best you can your first time out of the gate, because you can spend hours trimming this. So this is going to be like a very beginner trim. What we call a hard fat. You want to take some of that off. Remember, try to cut away from you if you can. Always have a sharp knife, and a cold brisket helps. Alright, we'll put that in the garbage bag. We ain't gonna worry about making tallow or nothing like that today. Now you're gonna hear people talk about fat rendering down. This is a hard fat. It will not render down, which means it's not gonna melt off. It ain't going anywhere. But this is a very lean brisket, so there ain't a lot of fat in this. So we're gonna probably call that good for now. Might come back to this later. You just want to take your knife and go way around the edges. Getting rid of any of that discoloration that you might see. This all looks pretty good though. Try to get rid of any pointy things. Try to make all your corners round if you can. It'll be alright if you don't. Not going to be the end of the world. Yeah, they just put a piece of meat on top to add more weight. That's why you always should buy your meat at the local butcher shop, folks. I was trying to find a flat. I didn't want a full packer, but I ended up with a very small brisket. So it'll work in a bind. Sharp knife. Keep cutting. Like that. We're going to try to just take a little bit off of here. Like that. You're going to hear people talk about 1/4 inch fat and stuff. So we're going to trim this down. It's going to be very hard for a new person to know what's a 1/4 inch. So just cut away. Like that. That's about a 1/4 inch right there. Yeah, they're about 1/4 inch. Now we're gonna just slice the end of this off. And we're going to try to round this corner off. like that. There we go. Same way at this corner, we're going to round it. You don't want any sharp edges. The purpose of no square corners is when you cook it, they'll get little hard, chunky things. When you go to wrap it in either your paper or your foil, whichever you have, you can poke a hole in it with that. So with no round, you want round corners and no square edges, if possible. We're going to round this off. Alright. We're going to take a little bit of this off. Not much though, just a little bit. Hold it up with your hand. Alright. Try not to go too deep. It's alright if you touch the meat a little bit. It ain't going to be the end of the world. Okay, now, that's pretty good for a, we'll get a little bit more there, for a beginner trim. Now remember, this is your first time. This might be the only brisket you cook. You might realize, hey, this might be too much work. I'm not doing this again. Anyway, we'll keep, if you made it this far, thank you. We'll take that off. Alright, this is what we're going to call the fat side up. Now the fat side is down. We're going to cook this fat side down on my Weber Spitfire, Smokefire, I mean, EX4. We're going to rub it down. You want to get some type of binder. Let's use mustard for your first time out. You don't have to use any binder if you want, because this is pretty wet right now. Alright, now you can season this up with whatever you want. Salt, pepper, garlic. But what I'm going to use today, pair it up with some Uncle Steve's Lucky Shake. And at the end, we're going to use some of this no-name sauce for like a dipping sauce. It'll be great. Now you can use whatever rub. Use whatever rub you like, or just stick with 50-50 salt and pepper if you want, and a little garlic. Remember, it's your brisket. It's your first brisket. I don't go crazy with the rub the first time. For new people, you can always add more later on your second one, but now this is a beginning video for new people. You're going to hear people talk about bark, smoke ring. Don't threaten none of that stuff. We want a nice, tender, juicy brisket if we can. You know, without it drying out. Then maybe your second brisket you can focus on the bark and all that stuff. But we'll see how it goes on their first time out. You don't want a tough brisket with a nice bark. That ain't going to do your family any good. Alright? Okay. Let's rub this down with some mustard and some rub. And we'll get right back. Hang on, folks. Alright, folks. Oh, a binder on it. A little mustard binder. You don't taste the mustard, you can use Worcestershire sauce. This brisket is super cold. I had to put it back in the refrigerator for a little while, folks. I had to go run an errand after we trimmed her up. Alright, we're going to hit it with a little Uncle Steve's Lucky Shake. Look at that. Maybe you have to get up early, folks. You want this time for your supper. It is. 3 o'clock in the morning, folks. Alright, this will be the presentation side here, folks. It's coming out kind of slow. Need bigger holes, Uncle Steve. Alright, there we go. Take this out. I'm going to go out and fire up the Weber smoke fire. We'll be right back, folks. Beginner video. Looking good. Got a little bit of the fat starting to render out. Internal temperature right now is at 145. We're going to spritz that a little bit. Oops, let me pump that up. I didn't set up my tripod today because the rain. Didn't want my camera to get all wet. Alright. Color is looking good. We won't wrap it just yet. Alright, we'll check back in another couple hours, folks. I'm writing everything down on paper so we know how fast this temperature's been coming up. I got the thing hooked up inside so I don't have to run out here in the rain. Alright, we'll be right back, folks. Alright, folks. See what she looks like after 5 hours. Oh, she's a beauty. Got a nice bark. I went ahead and added a Thermo Pro temperature gauge. Just to double check temperatures, all within a couple of degrees. We're probably at an internal temperature of 152 right now. We're going to take this out and we're going to wrap it right over here on my little table, folks. We're in between rain right now. My hands are tough for years of barbecuing and welding, folks. A little heat don't hurt my fingers. Out of the way, we're going to wrap this up tight. I did not add any liquid to this. We're going to make it use its own juicy. Nice and tight. Back into the pit. Get these probes back in about the same spot. Alright, we're just going to let her ride out until it hits 200 and we're going to pull it. Beginner brisket. Magic number 200. Remember, it's going to climb 5 degrees after you pull it out. So we'll check for probe tender too. I'll show you how to do that too. Hang on a minute, we'll be right back. Alright, folks. See what she looks like after 5 hours. Oh, she's a beauty. Got a nice bark. I went ahead and added a Thermo Pro temperature gauge. Just to double check temperatures, all within a couple of degrees. We're probably at an internal temperature of 152 right now. We're going to take this out and we're going to wrap it right over here on my little table, folks. We're in between rain right now. My hands are tough for years of barbecuing and welding, folks. A little heat don't hurt my fingers. Get out of the way, we're going to wrap this up tight. I did not add any liquid to this. We're going to make it use its own juicy. Nice and tight. Back into the pit. Get these probes back in about the same spot. Alright. We're just going to let her ride out until it hits 200. And we're going to pull it. Beginner brisket. Magic number 200. Remember, it's going to climb 5 degrees after you pull it out. So we'll check for probe tender too. I'll show you how to do that too. Hang on a minute. We'll be right back. Alright guys, got my hat. Anyway, we hit a internal temperature of 195. So far the total cook time has been right around 9 hours. So it's almost an hour a pound here, folks, if you're cooking by time. What we're gonna do, what I like to do anyways, when it gets about 195, we'll pull these out. Open this up. We're going to let a little bit of that steam out. We're going to put these right back in the same hole. Like that. And we're going to let that roll until it goes up to 200. And then we're going to pull it out. Let it rest. Alright? We'll be right back. Actually, I'll meet you inside when it hits 200. I'll have everything on the table for us. Alright, be right back, folks. Alright guys, welcome back. Scotty's Backyard Barbecuing. We're barbecuing the way of life on this brisket, somewhat flat beginner video. Alright, we're gonna slice her up. We spent all day doing this. Total cook time on this 9-pound brisket took about 12 hours. So let's slice this up and see how we look. Let's go straight across here, folks.
Grandpa, nasty.
We're going to cut right out of the middle here, folks. My grandson Noah photobombing me. A little juicy there, folks. Alright, let's go this way. There we go. The beautiful brisket flat. Nice and tender. Very juicy. Small. And cut this way. Look at that. Not bad for our first flat, huh, folks, for a beginner video. Nice and juicy, nice and moist. Got a nice little smoke ring. Pit Boss pellets, tender. Very tender. Hey, what, that Uncle Steve? Lucky shake. You hit the nail on that thing, boy.
Wasn't good.
They got a little bit of the flat on top and a small little point on the bottom. Moist, perfect brisket. Noah, want to do Grandpa a favor? Go get a towel. My assistant, Noah, bring Grandpa a towel. Hey, Noah. All right, folks. Hey, hang on, let me get some of that Uncle Steve. We're gonna use that for a dipping sauce. Be right back. Hang on. The no-name dipping sauce paired with that Lucky Shake on a brisket. Yeah, let's try that. Whoa. Get you some Uncle Steve. Excellent on brisket. Put a little bit on your plate next to your potato salad and your baked bean. Nice, tender, juicy brisket. All right. I gotta stop eating, folks. There it is. A beautiful brisket flat, somewhat. Mostly flat. Nice and tender. Pull apart tender. Very juicy. With your Uncle Steve. Look at that, folks. Beautiful. Follow these steps. You too can make an amazing brisket for your first time out. Not rocket science. Low and slow. Watch your times. Watch your temperature. Let it rest. And you'll have an amazing brisket for a beginner. Alright, thanks for watching, folks. For Scotty's Backyard Barbecuing. For barbecuing is a way of life, folks. Oh, this is going to be a great supper tonight.